Our story blasts off right in the middle of the city with chaos swirling everywhere. It looks like disaster is about to hit, but then boom, out of nowhere, a superhero drops into the scene. Dressed head to toe in a bold lion suit and packed with futuristic gadgets, this mystery hero leaps into action. The crowd erupts into cheers. News reporters swarm the scene. Cameras flash. But nobody knows who Super Lion really is, except for one person. His 11-year-old daughter, Hedwig. Now, you'd think being the daughter of a superhero would come with some serious perks, cool powers, elite training, maybe even a secret lair. But for Hedwig, it's not that glamorous. She doesn't have powers. She isn't super athletic or super smart. In fact, she's kind of behind other kids in just about everything. She struggles in school, she's not great at sports, and she doesn't have a lot of friends. Her self-confidence? Barely there. The only person who really gets her is her classmate Thomas, a shy, tech-loving boy who's really into computers. The two of them love online games and often escape the real world by playing together after school. One morning, while Hedwig and her classmates are on the school bus, something super strange happens. They spot a tiny toy car driving itself down the street. Before things spiral out of control, bam, Super Lion shows up again, saves the day, and even stops the school bus from running over the toy. The kids go wild. They're amazed, inspired. Some even whisper about becoming superheroes themselves. And Hedwig? She watches with wide eyes, quietly dreaming of one day stepping into that lion's suit herself. She knows the legacy. Her grandma was a hero, then her dad took up the mantle, and at least according to tradition, Hedwig is next in line. There's just one tiny problem. She has no powers. Her mom used to tell her not to worry. That one day, her moment would come. That she'd find her own way to be heroic. But since her mom passed away, everything changed. Hedwig's been left to figure things out on her own. And her dad, Liv, has been distant. He throws himself into superhero work and barely talks to her anymore. Deep down, Hedwig suspects he doesn't believe she's capable of carrying the Super Lion legacy. But she's determined to prove him wrong. In the meantime, though, she has to survive middle school. Hedwig has trouble reading, mostly because of her bad eyesight and a limited vocabulary. The other kids tease her constantly, and she often feels like she doesn't belong. Then, out of the blue, the principal announces a school-wide talent show. Every student has to participate. Hedwig's stomach sinks. What could she possibly perform? She doesn't sing, dance, or play an instrument. Her only real talent is gaming, and that's not exactly talent show material. To kick things off, the class heads to the gym. The teacher calls on Adrian, the class star and Hedwig's own cousin, to show off his gymnastics. He flips, twirls, and lands like a pro. Everyone claps. Then it's Hedwig's turn. She tries to mimic Adrian's move and completely wipes out. The gym fills with laughter. Her face turns red as the boys snicker and the teacher looks disappointed. That evening, Hedwig comes home feeling lower than ever, hoping to avoid any more embarrassment, but no luck. Liv launches into a speech about how she needs to exercise more if she ever wants to be a hero. He tells her about the super loose, legendary superheroes who trained hard and followed strict diets. He's clearly frustrated. And she's clearly not in the mood. While he's in the kitchen making dinner, Hedwig sneaks onto the computer to game with Thomas and the gang. Just when she's finally having fun, Liv storms back in. He shuts down the computer mid-game and scolds her for wasting time. He tells her again, if she wants to be a superhero, it's time to start training like one. Trying not to cry, Hedwig goes to do laundry, completely unaware that something very important may have just gone into the wash. The Super Lion costume. Ding dong. The doorbell rings. Adrian and his parents show up for dinner. The grown-ups gather around the table and, naturally, the topic turns to the school talent show. Adrian humbly brags about his long list of skills. He's a gymnast, magician, musician, painter. He's got everything going for him. Feeling left out, Hedwig blurts out that she's going to play the drums. Everyone stares. She's never played real drums in her life, just virtual ones in video games. Her family bursts into laughter, mocking her for thinking video games count as talent. Right then, boom, the washing machine explodes. Bits fly everywhere. Liv freaks out and rushes everyone out of the house to check on the damage. To make matters worse, the costume has shrunk to kid size. That suit isn't just a costume. It's been passed down for generations. Without it, he can't be Super Lion. And without Super Lion, the city is defenseless. Hedwig's eyes light up. The suit fits her perfectly. But before she can say anything, Liv shuts her down. He blames her for the disaster and says she's nowhere near ready for that kind of responsibility. Crushed, Hedwig runs away to her grandmother's house. Her grandma, once a superhero herself, always had a softer approach. Hedwig pours her heart out. Why is her dad so cold? Why doesn't he believe in her? Her grandma finally opens up. She explains the cost of the costume, how it doesn't just boost your strengths, it also magnifies your flaws. When she wore it, her hunger for fame grew too strong. She revealed her identity to the public and had to step down. Afterwards, Liv, just 13, was forced to take over and attend a secret superhero academy. He was overwhelmed and never truly forgave his mom for pushing him too fast. Hedwig finally sees her father in a new light. Maybe he isn't cold, maybe he's scared. She decides to try again, not just for herself, but for him. When she returns home, Liv surprisingly apologizes. He admits he's been distant. He says he was never prepared to guide her, but maybe, just maybe, her time has come. He tells her the suit only boosts what's already there, and maybe she is something special after all. Hedwig's hope returns. The next morning, she slips into the shrunken super lion suit. It fits perfectly. Liv gives her a small mission. A lemur has escaped the zoo and is causing a ruckus downtown. Should be an easy start. But Hedwig is still nervous. Liv doesn't give her a choice. He drops her right into the action. She finds the lemur in a flower shop and tries to catch it, but ends up making a huge mess. The chase continues onto the rooftops. Suddenly, Hedwig starts seeing strange visions and nearly passes out. Liv jumps in just in time to pull her back. She does catch the lemur eventually, but not before breaking tons of stuff, including a golden super lion statue. Liv is furious. Back at home, he tells her to give up. He says she's not cut out to be a hero. The suit enhances strength, and in his eyes, she has none. Hedwig is heartbroken. She locks herself in her room for days. No games, no Thomas, just silence. She feels worthless. Meanwhile, the city is in trouble. Crime is up. Accidents are everywhere, and the nearby mountain is starting to crack. If it collapses, the whole city could be destroyed. But Super Lion is nowhere to be seen. The people are scared. They've lost their protector. Liv watched everything unfold from home, helpless. The next morning, while sending Hedwig off to school, something unexpected caught Liv's attention. It was Adrian. The way he moved, strong, agile, confident, it reminded Liv of himself when he was younger. Back in his hidden superhero room, he flipped through the old family book again. And there it was, Adrian's name. He too was part of the Super Lion bloodline. Maybe he was the hero the city needed now. So Liv called Adrian and asked him to come over after school. When Adrian arrived and found out that Liv was the legendary Super Lion, he was stunned. His family had never told him anything about it. But before passing on the legacy, Liv made him swear to never reveal his secret identity to anyone, not even his own family. Adrian agreed. And the moment he put on the suit, something incredible happened. Super strength, insane speed, powerful energy, it all came rushing into him. Liv was thrilled. Adrian seemed like the perfect choice, athletic, smart, and confident. Everything Hedwig wasn't, or so he thought. But Liv had no idea that Hedwig had seen it all. She had watched from the shadows as her father handed over the legacy meant for her to someone else. Her heart shattered. Furious, she stormed to her grandmother, filled with pain and determination. She still believed she had what it took to be Super Lion. And if her dad wouldn't give her a chance, she'd find her own way. To Hedwig's surprise, her grandmother agreed. She didn't think Adrian was the right choice either. So, the two of them teamed up in secret. They placed a hidden tracker in the Super Lion suit so they'd know when Adrian wasn't using it. And whenever he took it off, Hedwig would quietly borrow it and sneak out for her own missions. Together, she and her grandmother designed a full training plan to find out where Hedwig's strengths were. But after days of testing, they found no special powers, no super strength, no lightning speed. Hedwig began to lose hope. That's when her grandmother shifted strategy. Maybe your power isn't in your muscles, she said. Maybe it's in your mind. So she asked Hedwig what she truly loved doing. Hedwig lit up and rushed to show her video games. She'd spent hours mastering them. To her amazement, Hedwig passed even the hardest levels like they were child's play. She didn't just play, she predicted outcomes, calculated every move, and stayed 10 steps ahead. Her reactions were lightning fast, her strategy flawless. That's when it clicked. This was Hedwig's true superpower, her brain, her sharp thinking, her ability to strategize and lead. All she needed now was the confidence to believe in herself. Back in the neighborhood, Thomas kept inviting her to hang out, but Hedwig was too focused on training. Then one day, disaster struck again. The same lemur from before was back, and this time, he hijacked a train. It was speeding out of control, heading straight for a crash. Hedwig froze. The memory of her past failure haunted her. But her grandmother snapped her out of it. "It's just a game," she whispered. Hedwig took a breath, scanned the area like a pro gamer, and spotted a solution. Using a book like a zipline handle, she slid across a cable, landed on the train, and made her way into the control room. There, with only a few tiny metal nuts, she trapped the lemur and stopped the train in time. The stunned driver looked at her and asked, "Who are you?" With a confident smile, Hedwig said, "I'm the new super lion." That night, the news lit up with stories of the heroic rescue. People were excited again. The city even decided to postpone the mountain evacuation. Everyone believed the new super lion could handle it. Hedwig was proud, truly proud of herself for the first time. She even bought a small notebook to record her very first mission. She was finally becoming the person she'd always dreamed of being. The next day at school, the teacher reminded everyone about the upcoming talent competition. Hedwig raised her hand and signed up to play the drum. Thomas was shocked. He told her not to bother. Everyone knew Adrian was going to win, like always. But Hedwig didn't flinch. She had a plan. And this time, the super lion suit was part of it. So focused on winning, Hedwig didn't even think about whether it was fair to use the suit during the competition. She just wanted to prove herself. Finally, the day arrived. The school gym was packed. Students performed one by one. Some danced, some sang, others juggled. Then Adrian stepped on stage with his violin. As he played, the crowd fell silent. His music was beautiful, emotional. People cheered wildly. His parents beamed with pride. The teacher was about to hand him the prize when suddenly, a small voice called out, "Hedwig." She wasn't on the list, but the teacher allowed her up. She walked onto the stage with quiet determination. Beneath her clothes, the suit pulsed with power. She sat behind the drums, took a deep breath, and started playing. Boom, boom, boom. Her rhythm hit hard, flawless, powerful, and filled with raw heart. The crowd gasped. No one expected this from her. When she finished, the gym exploded with applause. She had won them over. The teacher stepped forward and proudly declared her the winner. But just as she was about to accept the prize, Adrian stormed onto the stage, furious. He accused her of cheating, of using powers to win. The argument grew loud and messy. To avoid more drama, the teacher made a quick call. She handed the prize to Thomas instead. Backstage, Liv hurried over. But when he saw the super lion suit under Hedwig's clothes, he stopped cold. Hedwig tried to explain. She just wanted to be seen, wanted her dad to be proud. But Liv didn't soften. He was furious. He told her she had broken his trust and had no respect for the dangers involved. He took the suit, locked it away, and told her she'd never wear it again. Hedwig was shattered. Crying, she shouted at her dad, saying maybe it would have been better if he had died instead of her mom. Liv didn't respond. He simply turned and locked her in her room. Alone, Hedwig sobbed. She tried calling Thomas, but he didn't answer. He was still hurt from how she'd ignored him lately. And the next morning, things got worse. News broke that the mountain was close to collapse. The city was on high alert. Liv rushed to Adrian. It was time for his big moment. But instead of taking it seriously, Adrian asked if the media had been invited to cover his debut. Liv was stunned. "Heroes don't fight for fame," he said. "They fight to protect others." But Adrian didn't care. He called the press anyway. And when they arrived, he didn't save the mountain. He started building a statue of himself. Back home, Hedwig sat alone with an old childhood book. Her mom's voice echoed in her memory. "You don't need to be a superhero to be super." Suddenly, the front door burst open. Her grandmother rushed in. "Adrian's lost control," she said. "The powers changed him. We have to stop him before it's too late." Up on the mountain, Adrian and Liv faced off. Adrian was full of ego, anger, and power. He fought Liv, ignoring the pleas of their families. Then, in a terrifying moment, Adrian grabbed Liv and held him over the edge. Everyone screamed. And then Adrian let go. But just before falling, Liv managed to snatch the super lion suit back. The shock of it all finally brought Adrian back to his senses. Hedwig remembered the tracking device. She located her dad and rushed to him. He was hurt, but alive. Together, they climbed back up. Liv looked at her, filled with newfound respect. "You've proven yourself," he said, handing her the suit. But Hedwig gently refused. She didn't want to be another super lion. She wanted to be herself. Just then, the mountain began to tremble. There was no time to argue. Hedwig sprang into action. She called Thomas and asked him to analyze the situation, where the rocks would fall, how to redirect them. This time, Thomas followed her lead. With Liv and the others helping, they carried out Hedwig's plans step by step. And in the end, they saved the entire city. No super strength, no powers, just brains, heart, and teamwork. From that day forward, Super Lion was no more. The people didn't need a masked hero anymore, because now they knew. You don't have to be a superhero to be super.